Okay, let me just test to make sure it's working. Yes, it's working. Okay, so, um, so this letter you were talking about.
Yeah, there's a document produced by the Intelligence Committee that is chaired by Mike Turner, and it's actually a bipartisan document. 13 people, 13 congressmen signed it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's has three sections. Two of them are very critical, as far as I can
Oh,
tell.
wow.
Those are allowing Ukraine to strike Russian military targets across the border on their territory. What happens right now? There's a section territory right outside of Ukraine on Russian territory, and it's like a strip that is a sanctuary for Russians. Ukraine is not able to hit them over there with U.S. made weapons, and this restriction needs to be lifted. And this is section number one of this document requesting Secretary Austin to address that, make a change to the policy. The second, very again, in my opinion, important section of the document is providing Ukraine with extra air defense. That's a request for additional seven Patriot systems. Doesn't specify the version. That they could give Ukraine both PAC 2 or PAC 3 uh, Patriot systems. Both of them will work great against the gliding bomb attacks. So those are launched from airplanes, and both PAC 2 and PAC 3 able to take out those airplanes. What PAC 2 cannot do is ballistic missiles. So for that reason, PAC 3 is more preferable for like inland city protection, where ballistic missiles fly into. The front line is pounded with glide bombs, and one of the better ways to address that situation is taking out those airplanes. And of course, you can do it either with your own aviation, which
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine is working on right now, but we're not sure if those F-16s will be capable to stand against Russian Su-35s. We have a lot of reservations about it. But Patriot systems, they're certainly capable of keeping those planes away. And again, Ukraine needs to be able to hit Russian territory with the US made weapons so that Russians don't have that sanctuary where they can accumulate their forces. So that's kind of the gist of the document. It also talks about additional training for F-16 pilots, which is important. Probably it's not as high on the priority list as the first two items, but of course we want that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks, Oksana. Just so you know, I'm recording this conversation right now for my vlog, America Meets Ukraine, if that's okay with you.
It is totally fine with me. And
Okay.
then I can maybe go look at the notes there because I just hopped on a little bit late. So I'm gathering there is a document that Alex and maybe others crafted with three asks. And I heard number two and three.
Yeah. Yes. So let me.
Number one is like crazy important, and I'm ticked off at that we actually need to be sitting around waiting for slow mo Congress to say, yeah, you could hit this Russian sanctuary right now.
Yeah. And let me drop this in the chat. So
Thank you.
this is actually a letter by the Intelligence Committee, chaired by Mike Turner, and this letter is signed by 13 Congress people. Uh, Four of them are not members of their intelligence committee. So apparently, this document is open to outsiders. Uh, but what's really important for the for community to do right now is call our Congress people and tell them about this document, ask them to support it. They can produce their own letters. They can reach out to the administration. They can I suppose, do their own measures to pressure the White House. Obviously, at this point, it's a matter of the policy on their end, and our Congress people have a lot of leverage with the White House. So, yeah, I believe this is one of the most important documents to talk about right now. Another document I'd like to share with you. I put this in the chat. Now, this doc is something Protect Ukraine now put together. This is enough in a format where it's easy to print and give to your friends, your neighbors, people you physically interact with. I even put there a barcode for people to get to our website. Basically, same thing we just talked about. I put this together even before I've seen the letter by the congressman I just mentioned, because these two priorities are high on the list. It was quite obvious to us that we need to be talking about it, and this document is a little helper for people who don't have much experience making those phone calls. So obviously, we encourage everyone to use their own words, reference their own thoughts, experiences, whatever comes to mind. But at the end of the day, Ukraine needs the ability to hit Russia where it hurts the most, which is where they accumulate their forces. We need air defense, and our document is also talking about excess defense articles. Those are written off munitions, things we do not need anymore. And for Ukraine, this could be a game changer if they begin to receive that stuff in good size quantities. Even munitions that is outdated and maybe needs some repairs. If Ukraine can start getting that old gear we don't need anymore in bulk quantities, that will still be a huge help. Ukraine is quite good at fixing up things. They have to do that anyway because obviously equipment is being damaged in the war, and it needs repairs. Even if it starts as a good functioning piece of equipment, at some point it may need a fix up. So Ukraine is set up and is able to do those tasks. So again, we're looking for a way to bypass this notion that we cannot give Ukraine weapons because we don't have it. We cannot give Ukraine weapons because we need it for our own sake, and we don't have the money, right? So those three things can be easily bypassed by pointing out into that direction. Hey, here's this pile of old gear that we don't need anymore, so doesn't qualify as something we need in case XYZ happens. This is also equipment that is cheap. It's been written off and it's up for sales to foreign nations. A lot of ED articles are being sold to our allies or partners, other countries. So it's a common practice There's nothing new there. So if Morocco can get our Bradleys, so can Ukraine.
Right. Yeah, this is what we've been working on this whole time. And can you comment on, you've said that these EDAs are able to be sold to allies. So is Ukraine wanting these ones for loan? Because I know that this loan topic was hot, made popular by Trump earlier this year. So how would that go? Would that just be like kind of what we talked about?
No. So I don't even think that our turret equipment is going to fall under any sort of lease agreements. Some other equipment may. I don't think Ukraine is against that idea. It would be like any lease agreements make sense to discuss once there's something offered as an idea and there's some traction behind it. Like, for example, this document I just mentioned earlier. When there's something to grab on, it's easy to build momentum and build support behind something that's already happening. Where any sort of lease for Ukraine, I don't think it's anything that's being currently discussed. I don't think. There's a legislation by Senator Corning, I believe, but unless it passes, yeah. But again, Ukraine will, my understanding, will be happy with any arrangement that gives them the weapons.
Yeah, just give them the weapons. My God, give them weapons right now. Something that I'm going to get you a little off track, but I've been really, really wanting to ask you guys this question. So, that big aid package that passed, what are your high-level criticisms of it? Because I know you have them.
Hold on, you're breaking up.
Breaking up.
A little bit. Can you repeat that, please?
What are your high-level criticisms of this big foreign aid package to Ukraine, the $60 billion that just got passed specifically with regard to military weapons or lack thereof, and how much money actually went to weaponry?
It's a great question. Let's talk about it.
I've been dying to talk about this with you.
Before Alex gets started, can I just hop in with one little comment that I think Russia spends about $10 billion per month. So if we were to have parity and equity, this great, huge, so generous aid package that we deign to give Ukraine is good for about 6 months if we want parity. So that's my first thing. I'm thinking, let me get on the ground and prostrate myself at your great generosity. But it's not that great, But one doesn't want to seem ingracious, though, right?
Yeah. My gosh. We have to be grateful for
I know. It's just like, thank you for the drip of water you gave me while I'm,
It's pathetic, and we worked our butts off to try and get them to do this, too. My God. And now, but I can complain. We have our men, military men, Ukrainian men, foreign fighters, Americans on the front who sign up to fight in Ukraine with, AKs because they don't have enough heavy machinery. This is primitive. It's not right. It's not right at all.
No, it's we're acting like we don't have skin in the game. And I think a late smart will be what we will be.
It's a waste if we don't win this war, and so we need to put it up for sure.
All right. So, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's roughly the breakdown. We can go into more details, but as overview, the blue area is the money that is not meant for Ukraine at all. And that's the 61 breakdown, right?
Oh my God.
So $28.7 billion with B is meant for the U.S. Department of Defense personnel, procurement, or otherwise operations maintenance items unrelated to Ukraine whatsoever.
Like, not
There
even
are,
kind of like compensating for anything we gave to them.
um, Alex, when you read a legal document, unless it says this is for you, it's probably not for you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if someone it intends to apply this resource to a specific cause, they better put it in writing. Everything else is only speculation. Is it possible that US going to take something that is theirs and give it to Ukraine without any explicit allocation? Is that possible? Of course, everything is
Yeah.
possible. I mean, if we're going to have some sort of global shift in the situation, and all of a sudden, U.S. is going to arrive at the conclusion that stopping or helping Ukraine is a matter of their own security, and they're going to be taking extreme loss if they don't help Ukraine right away. They can certainly find a way and means to give Ukraine extra. However, we're only analyzing legislation bill, and if it doesn't say for Ukraine, I assume it is not for Ukraine.
Right.
What's for Ukraine is in orange over here. There are three large sections, if you will. That's economic assistance. That's about $8.2 billion. Short-term military aid, which is PDA and USAI, and that's $6.9 billion. And PDA and FMF. So these are short-term programs. It's probably not very accurate the way I put it, for the reason that USAI, the one that I marked as long-term. So that the trick here is that USAI can be used for short-term assistance as well. Historically, however, we have seen it only been used for securing future contracts. So it was not being used effective at all. So this is a very rough designation of short-term and long-term. And I thought I mentioned it because one of the advocacy talk points this year is asking our congresspeople to use USAI money for short-term assistance as much as possible. Okay, so but military aid altogether, as you can see, is going to be about $20 billion, where aid is going to be financial assistance. So out of 61 billion, only 20 is roughly military assistance per this document.
And less than half of that is what the military men will be able to utilize right away. Wow.
Exactly. Now, what's important about this breakdown, and I think, Alex, since you're going to write about it, I'll give you some thoughts that you may want to use if you'd like, of course.
Sure.
So when we disregard this 20, almost $9 billion that U.S. military is going to get, we're doing two things with it. Number one is we're amplifying the amount of assistance that Ukraine receives. This makes it very hard to come and ask for additional funds. I mean, this is like 50-50 breakdown, roughly. So half of it is not even for Ukraine. Obviously, these are not just numbers. Numbers represent the quality of the assistance. So the more, the better. And by disregarding the fact that U.S. is getting a lot of these resources, we're making it hard to explain, for example, in late summer or early fall,
Mm-hmm.
to ask for yet another supplemental,
That's a
as you
huge concern of
yeah,
mine.
as we have seen, this takes a lot of effort, a lot of work, and if we want Ukraine to continue to receive assistance, come summertime, I'd say August, we need to be pushing really hard on the next supplemental. And that means we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared mentally. That we need to be doing that, and the general public needs to understand that there'll be this ask, and it's very hard again to be asking for assistance when in on everyone's mind is this $61 billion
Right. It's a
number.
number burned into our brains. And then
Well,
when you
but
even go
and
ahead.
there's just one more thing I'd like to add. When we disregard the fact that US is also beneficiary, we disregard that the fact that this is also our American war, our own American priority. It will make it only a Ukrainian problem. Where in reality, we're 50-50 in this.
Yeah.
US is spending $29 billion to respond to the situation in Ukraine. I don't think this is bullshit. I don't think they just spending that money on some unnecessary stuff. This is actually an important expense on behalf of the U.S. Army
Mm-hmm.
because we are in a global security threat situation. This war is affecting not just Ukraine; it affects us, and
Mm-hmm.
this is very important to be talking about the fact that this is not just a Ukraine package; it's a Ukraine American package.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is our problem as well. Like advocates for Ukraine, uh, those of us who went to DC in April, those of us who call our representatives, those of us who take part, we pushed for this legislation, sufficient or not, but it happened because of our efforts, and because of our efforts, now U.S. has extra $29 billion for our own military needs, which
Right.
is important. So we need to be pointing out again how this money splits. It's not a small margin; it's 50%, and it happens so because this is actually our problem, and it's important to continue to stress that out.
Absolutely. And we should be grateful that we are able to fund our military and Ukraine's military aid as well. And, you know, not like, what you're saying, like for me, as we're, we Americans should be grateful for this aid package because it goes back into us, not just vicariously through Ukraine, but we literally paid ourselves in this package too, and we need to not get it twisted.
Right. I'll share this link in the chat as well
Cool.
because I know you guys like the
I
number.
do. I do. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to be Debbie the Downer when I'm here. Yesterday, I went to a teletown hall with Eli Crane, who is the
God.
yeah, he's he needs to get flushed down the toilet, and he is getting primaried by another Republican, and I don't think the Democratic challenger is super strong, but time will tell. Anyway, there were a lot of crazy people at this meeting. One of the things they were carrying on about is like, oh my God, Ukraine is so corrupt, blah, blah, blah. And you're saying, yeah, why don't you go look at transparency.org and, the wonderful strides that Ukraine's made in the last, 10 years or whatever. And they're still like, oh, it's so corrupt, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, the U.S. has dropped in on the corruption standard. If you go to www.
Yeah.
Transparency.org. We should all move to Denmark, right? That's the only clean place on earth. But anyway, I was thinking, these guys are all sour graping. But, I do have some cousins that live in Lviv, and they have been whinging occasionally about the wholesale corruption and how these majors are loading their pockets, and it made me want to weep. And I think there must be some element of truth to this. And I know nobody's perfect and things are improving and it's a time of war, but what kind of arguments do we have against that, and what kind of oversight, what can I speak to and point to in terms of, well, this is the oversight that's going on?
Okay. A couple of things. So number one, Ukraine aid is heavily monitored. There are already a lot of oversight committees, and while certain corruption does happen, obviously this is Ukraine, and it's not a secret that corruption is actually happening. But there's a lot of oversight, and anything that is lost due to corruption, while this is a bad thing, this is part of doing business over there. And what's interesting is a lot of Americans I'm talking to, including those in military, they understand that this is a cost of helping Ukraine.
Okay.
Now, another important thing to mention is all the conversation they hear about corruption in Ukraine happen because there's a lot of investigation and a lot of attention to that matter inside Ukraine by Ukrainian people.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
good thing.
It's just like you don't know about it if you don't look for it, right?
Yeah.
Ukrainian people are deeply concerned about corruption, and effective or not in taking it out, they talk about it. They do what they can, given their ability to make a difference. And this is important to point out. Like, Ukrainian people are trying to do their best fighting of corruption. And the third point I would always mention, when we help Ukraine, we certainly not there to help, for example, government of Zelensky or any other ruling group, party, or whatever in Ukraine. We're there to, number one, stop Russia from expanding, and we're there to help the Ukrainian people. And people are those who, as well, take hit from corruption when it happens, and basically saying that, well, you guys, while you hold the front line, while you risk your life in trenches, we're not going to give you enough weapons because your government is corrupt, right? Your people back in Kiev, they're not sincere about helping you, like being the kind of government would like Ukraine to be.
It's not a good argument at all. This is like about saving people's lives. And like, for me, if people want to bootleg humanitarian aid, I would say just send military aid. Nobody's going to bootleg a Patriot, or I just feel like this is an opportunity for us to be like, dude, like, more weapons. Like, what's a politician gonna do with a long-range missile?
Yeah. No. So
I like that, Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also a great argument. We need to primarily focus on weapons when it comes to assistance. I have no problems. And by the way, I believe the current bill that just passed, it includes a requirement for the president to make some of the financial assistance contingent upon some terms where Ukraine will have to pay back. So we just talked that lease is not hasn't been discussed. I meant the military aspect of land lease, but just so you know, the financial aspect, the $8 billion that I just talked about, technically Biden is obligated to create some sort of terms. It's up to him what sort of terms, but that money is supposedly will need to be repaid. And from for the people who are reluctant about us just giving out cash, I think this is a good argument. It's a good thing to mention. And frankly, I think if Ukrainian government is going to know that this money will need to be returned at some point, it cannot be just be unaccounted, cannot just disappear, and there'll be less opportunity for corruption. Hopefully, we don't know, but there's at least that optics over there. Really quickly, I'm not going to go through this through like every line item here, of course, but I just wanted you to see that there's this extra tab. We looked at the overview tab, and this HR 835 tab contains every line item that is used on that graph. You can look and see like what exactly is being spent, where the money is spent. The yellow highlighted with yellow lines are what's actual for Ukraine. The rest is military use, for example, of the United States. You can see here military personnel, Army, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, operational maintenance.
That's awesome that you had this all broken down,
Yeah,
especially for
That's
the
nice.
US portion.
Support and improvements to the submarine industrial base. Obviously, it helps a lot somewhere by Bakhmut, but yeah, no, I'm being sarcastic.
Right, I know.
But I think what's important, and Alex, when you're going to write about it, I think what's important to notice is we all have heard recently on the news that Russia is launching satellites able to deliver nuclear weapons to space.
Yeah.
We've heard it on the news. Well, thanks to Ukraine bill, our space force is getting extra $4 million to meet that particular problem. We also know that their escalation in China is real. It does happen, and we may have to go and protect Taiwan against China, and we also have extra money going to airspace, Air Force, Marines, and if we take all of these, let's see. How much money? It's probably going to be about $4 billion if we take all their procurement and let's see some more submarines. Now this that's right. So here. So we start adding all these Navy expenses and Marine Corps, Air Force. It's going to be what $11 billion just for procurement and Air Force and Navy and Marine, and we can do all these calculations. But the point is that the situation in the world is not safe, and we are funding our own military to stand against China, against Russia and other regions. And we're doing that on the back of Ukraine packages, and we never give credit to advocacy groups that pushed for these funds. And by only attributing 61 billion to Ukraine, we make it a Ukraine-only problem.
It's just so politicized. It's terrible.
Yeah. But you guys have this document, so take a look if you have questions.
You shared that one too, the Excel spreadsheet.
That's the last link in the chat.
Cool. Thank you. All right, this is really good stuff.
Awesome.
I have a little announcement for you.
Okay.
So I'm going to be volunteering with Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv next week.
That's exciting.
Wow. Are you going to Lviv?
Yeah, I'm going to Lviv. I'm going on my own, and I'm meeting with the mission over there.
Hmm.
Holy
So,
cow.
oh, I'm gonna be working there for 3 weeks, and I'm really really excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you brushing up on your Ukrainian?
Так, маленький.
Well, be
Небагато.
safe, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll try and be safe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Lviv is relatively safe, but it's a war zone. Don't ignore those air raid alarms.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll be listening to them, and we'll see how I last over there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little bit nervous that like we're all now pushing to strike on Russian territory, because like for me, especially it being summer, like I don't know, this could turn into like an escalation. So
Uh, so let me say this about escalation. Russia is a bully. If you ever in your life had to deal with bullies, and be it school, be it anywhere, the only way to stop them is to kick back. That has been my experience in school. Not that I was getting into any huge fights, but the only way really to have people who annoy you to be quiet is to push back. Every time we vocal about our own red lines, like we're not going to be doing this and we're not going to be doing that, and we don't want to escalate, and we'd like to keep Russia happy and keep things under control. That's when we lose control. That's when
Yep.
when Russia interprets it as weakness. So we have seen on a number of times when Russia was hit really really bad, when their ships, major navy ships, were taken out, when Kerch Bridge got hit several times, when oil refineries in on the Russian territory were hit by Ukrainian unmanned aircraft. We have crossed those lines many times. Things that according to Russia was like a big no-no, and nothing has happened. So I don't believe that Russians are going to use nuclear weapons or escalate. It's just out of question.
it's hard for me to imagine it happening as well. And it gives me like hearing you say that like makes me like feel completely opposite like of being scared. It's like if I'm gonna be going over there, I have to say this. Like I have to be like we need to be striking into that territory to stop them in Kharkiv.
Mhm.
You know, like
Remember, the only way to prevent nuclear escalation is for nuclear weapons to be a means of deterrence. The moment our own nuclear weapons no longer a means of deterrence to others, the moment we say, oh, forget that we also have nuclear weapons. Russia has nukes, therefore we're just going to step back and let them do whatever they want. The moment we allow that to happen, that's a wrong. First, nuclear weapons no longer deterrence. So we're losing that leverage at all. Russia is going to be doing whatever they want again and again. Number two, every small country will learn the lesson. The only way to have any leverage, any way of having a say, is to have nuclear weapons next to your negotiation table. Have this big red button. Therefore, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and this is actually going to cause nuclear escalation again. So every country is going to try to get
right.
nuclear weapons for themselves. So this is just a very dangerous path in a sense of allowing that sort of rhetoric to be used and be persuasive to the rest. Even Soviet Union, which I'm definitely not a fan of, they never allow themselves to be that
paranoid.
careless, even in rhetorics.
Okay,
They would
gotcha.
never allow themselves to use nuclear weapons as a leverage.
Yeah, I mean, this is totally unhinged. There's a guy in Rome, Italy, Sergio Germani. He has the Gino Germani Institute, and he did a whole research study on the rhetoric of nuclear weapons. And I read his study because it was focused on the Ukraine war in Russia, and it completely debunks the fact that the notion that these are credible threats. So as far as and I agree with that, and it makes perfect sense, and I think to a lot of us it does. And like, if they want to I will just say I'm not afraid of nuclear weapons at this point. And like, don't even try me. I'm not going to walk around my planet being afraid of that, because that's what they want me to be. So
I don't know if that makes you feel better, but the city of Mariupol, the way it was treated, it's like a couple of dozens of Hiroshima-sized bombs.
Oy.
If you think about it.
yeah, and like, that's what I'm afraid of happening again. Like, that's what I'm truly afraid of them like just going ape shit on a city like that. And I don't foresee it happening again, but with Kharkiv in the state that it is now, and what you're saying, we're very concerned.
Right, and unfortunately, we're in this. And then, by the way, I really appreciate you guys being frank and honest, because a lot of people to this moment feel a need to be political about the current politics. I find it absolutely unacceptable. I don't have any polite words for the administration. The way they discourage or restrict Ukraine from hitting Russian military objects, assets on Russian territory, just because it happened to be Russian territory. You know that on the other side of that very borderline, that Russia couldn't care less. They obviously violated those borders when they attacked Ukraine. Why does Ukraine need to stop at that line when it comes at hitting assets that basically wipe out cities like Kharkiv
Right.
of the face of the earth as we speak? So yeah, so this policy is beyond pale.
And the fact that it makes sense to people is like brainwash. Like, yeah, don't hit into Russian territory. It's like, how brainwashed are you?
It's so bad, It's like, I guess we're planning to hit like kindergartens and opera houses and maternity hospitals and stuff. It's like, what's wrong with you?
No. But that's what Russia does in Ukraine, and that seems to be acceptable.
That's standard operating procedure to destroy the civilian life. And you think we would like to hit military installations. Is that okay with you? It's so bizarre.
And during the Second World War, right? If I'm not mistaken, over 400 million of peaceful, if you say, civilians, of German civilians, perished in air raids by allies. British, Americans, we carpet bombed Germany for them to surrender. 400 million civilians were killed in the process. This sucks, but this is what happens when you start a war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, yeah, sure we try to fight in the most civilized way lately, and
Mm-hmm.
it's understandable and appreciated. And we're not talking about wiping out civilian quarters in Belgrade or anywhere else in Russia. And this is even stupid to consider for Ukrainians because the long range weapons are very expensive and they don't have too many of them. They
Mm-hmm.
obviously going to use those military capabilities only for critical targets,
Right.
like accumulation of military personnel or equipment. They're not gonna hit civilians with that. Anyway, yeah, obviously it's preaching to choirs here, but a lot of people still very political and they're like, what? Why Biden is doing this? It makes no sense. Well, yeah, it does make sense. And he's been doing this for third year now, third year in a
Mm-hmm.
row. I mean, the,
Yeah.
the organization I happen to lead right now, we arrived at that conclusion in the summer of 2022, if not sooner. By summer 2022, we were already an organization. As individuals, we came to that realization. My probably the one memorable rough conversation I had with one of the friends was probably around the time when Biden signed the the land lease. He did it. He did that on May 9th, 2022. It was a very it's significant date for them to pick, and just a show off, of course, because he never used lend lease in any way to help Ukraine. But
Right.
but even then, even by May of 2022, I knew he's just not doing what he's supposed to be doing. I can tell a difference. Any normal person can tell a difference between helping and pretending to help.
Yep.
Right.
We know how we would help if it was up to us, and we would know what we would do if help was not on the table. But we had to pretend, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be an expert.
Right.
But the best we can do at the moment is continue on pressing the White House. I'm truly thankful that we have a lot of good Congress people that on the same
Yeah.
side with us, and they produce a very good documents, and it gives us a very good starting point for advocacy because we can point out this document and ask other congressmen to support it too.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, yeah, I'll run it by one of the local congressmen.
Hmm.
If I have like some time, I'm like preparing to go out of country, but I could just shoot them an email
Yeah.
um when I'm
Uh,
catching up.
Almost
Alex?
certainly send this to our senators who are both supportive. Eli Crane is just an irredeemable
Oh,
piece of
that's
something.
Yeah, but the thing is that all of them need to hear from us. Those who already support it, like people who I called one of the Congress people on this document is from Illinois, and we were stopping by their office in April. I called them and I thanked them for signing that
yeah,
document.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
And they want, and that's also very important to thank people who are supportive.
Yeah.
People
Yes.
who are supportive, but you want them to do something, call them as well, ask them to join the rest. And people who are not, they still need to hear from you. They need to know that you disapprove their.
Yeah. Even though they're
That,
scared of me and they don't even answer the door or schedule town halls and I'm getting banned from
yeah,
local press, but I sure would like to thank somebody who's supportive because I'm getting sick and tired of this. But
yeah,
I'll make time to try because I'm good at that. So
right. Let me. Oh, Alex, you have seen it. I'll drop this link for Oksana. Um, Let me find this. Hmm. That's my latest YouTube recording for uh, where I talk about the need to call and support this document and ask our Congress people to uh, pressure Biden administration to allow Ukraine to hit Russia and um, provide air defense. So yeah, if you can, please share it
Will do.
with your
Will do.
community, with your friends, family, whoever is within your reach. Obviously, we need to get as many people as we can. My personal disappointment is how little people are able to reach. I wish we could do more, but
Yeah, I
but
know.
yeah, we just it is what it is. We just
Oh,
need
shoot.
to continue on pressing for more people to participate.
It's so
Yeah.
frustrating for me right now too. All right, well, you know what? You took the time with me. I'm gonna go send out an email to one of my little groups right now with the congressman on it.
Mhm.
So I'll do
I'm going
that.
to do the same. Yeah, I'm going to dash. Alex, stay very safe in Lviv when you're there. And
Okay.
yeah, listen to the air raid sirens. And
Um, Alex, do you have contacts in Lviv? Do you have people
Yeah, I
to?
do know some people. I have a friend, he tutors me in Ukrainian. So
Mhm.
I'm going to meet him, and then I'm going to be staying with the university. So I'm going to be connected with a nice group the whole time. And then I'm hopefully meeting my friend who's a commander at war. He's on break right now, and like he's going back as soon as I come, so he might see me. And then one of our local activists, David Root, and I might even link up because he's gonna be in Lviv around the same time I'm going. So,
Oh,
um,
nice, nice. Say hi to him. He's a good gentleman.
yeah, I will.
I've met him last time. I met him in DC in April.
Yeah. I'll plan definitely to go next time we do something like that for sure. I won't miss it next time. All right. Well,
All
thanks
right,
for catching me up. It's been very informative. Thank you. It's good to see you. I'll keep in
of
touch.
course. All right. Like this was good seeing you. Let's
Bye,
be in touch.
Oksana.
yeah, thanks for the intel and have a good week and be safe, Alex. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.